to the Open Goal coaching sessions in association with our friends at Intelligent Car Leasing. We have got a top lineup for you once again. On my far right hand side, the former Celtic and Scotland player Paul Hartley. Beside Paul is the current Scotland coach James McFadden, and on my left hand side is the former Rangers and Scotland midfielder Lee McCulloch. We've got a cracking hour for you lined up. The guys are going to give us their opinion on a host of topics, but we are going to concentrate mainly on coaching and management and the perils that it brings in modern day football, and also the good news for Scotland getting through their qualification group to get into the Euro 2020 playoffs, a guaranteed spot after finishing top of the section with Israel and Albania. We'll just touch on that first. James, you've been part of the setup with Alec McLeish. How rewarding and how pleasing was that to top the section?
That was huge. It was a massive reward obviously at the end of it, but I think the overriding emotion was relief because of the amount of stick and attention that we had on it. It was good just to get it, out of the way. We expected to win the group, if I'm being honest, and I think going into it we believe we could win the 4 games. So the setback in Israel was a huge blow to us, but players were brilliant, bounced back, and as I said, absolutely delighted to top the group.
Paul was an ex-Scotland player and somebody that's played under Alec McLeish at club level and international level. James said there the camp felt there was a bit of stick, a bit of criticism, negativity towards them. How is it when that is the case? Is it difficult for a national team player?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot of negativity surrounding the campaign and the start that we made, and especially the Israel game over there. But I think if you look at the last 2 games and the performance that Scotland put in, I thought it was terrific. And to top the group, we should have topped the group anyway in terms of the teams that were in it. But I think it's a lot of positivity now.
Was it a good achievement, Lee? We said it was taken for granted that Scotland should have topped that section, but had they not topped it, there'd have been severe criticism and pressure on the manager.
It's always a great achievement, in my opinion. I think there's no easy games at international level, and Scotland were in that group for a reason. I think there needs to be a sense of realism where we actually are. It's no 10 years ago when we're beating France in the double headers that the lads know about. I think we've came away from that a little bit, so we need to build that back up. But to top the group and win it, I think it's a fantastic achievement. It sets us up with a playoff.
When you look at the last 2 games of the section, James, Albania and Israel, there was real positivity, a real excitement about the style of football and the energy in the team, and also some of the young players. How was it to work with those guys and to see them, go and produce the goods?
It was brilliant. I'm extremely fortunate to be in the position I'm in, and I enjoy every part of it. But that double header, I did sense there was something a bit different in terms of even watching training. The standard of training was that bit higher for me, and as you say, we've got young, exciting players. I said that when we took the job, we need to try and find the best way to play them, and I think we've done that in the last 2 games, and we come in for a lot of stick, but you have to filter through to try and find the right formation, the right starting 11 for specific games. I think it will change game by game at times, but it was really satisfying to see the young players that we had so much belief in that come in and done really well, and they deserved it. And I think the thing is, we pick a squad of players and everybody's there to fight for a place. There's no anybody just filling a space in the squad. There's everybody there competing to play, and that reflects in training. The guys here will tell you when you go away with Scotland, the training's always that bit higher, the intensity's huge because everybody wants to impress, and that was evident, and it showed in the performances as well.
As you know, James, it's been more than 20 years since we've qualified. There's been a couple of near ones, the play-off with Bertie Vogts' team against Holland that you were involved in, Euro 2008, the last game against Italy. But is this now the real thing, or is it going to be another false dawn?
Well, we feel as if it's the real thing. The most pleasing part of the double header, when we played Albania, and it's all right saying we should beat these teams, but historically we've struggled against the teams we should beat. So to go, I felt as though the start we dominated. They should have had a man sent off after 2 minutes when he's blatantly handballed it, and the players never really. It was a good reaction for that. To go and win the game as comfortably as we did, it's hard to play against 10 men. Then Albania go and beat Wales in a friendly. It shows you they're no mugs. But the Israel game, we go down, it's a slow start again, first 20 minutes is too slow, the goal's a fantastic finish but there's no pressure on it, and you just feel that's the game where historically you look and say it's that night again, the game that we should win is going to be a near miss again. The character the players showed to come back, I think especially we talk about the pressure is huge, and the pressure's been on, most of the negativity's been towards the manager and myself and Peter Grant and the coaching staff, but it transfers to the players. It's impossible to hide that for them.
Do you not think that's the biggest thing Alex McLeish's had to date, is managing the expectation levels?
Definitely.
Because as soon as that group come out, I guarantee you all the Scotland fans are going, win that easy.
Well, it's a gimme.
But we're no the 10-year-ago team or 15-year-ago team.
We never even get a chance to go into it. It was like, oh, you've lost all these friendlies, so you obviously don't know what you're talking about. So to win 3 out of the 4 games, we are actually disappointed. We felt as though we could have won 4, but we've qualified, we've won the group. In the end, great save for Alan McGregor, but we've won the group, and it allows us to look forward now. I think that when we took over, it was, where's the goals going to come? We've not got any strikers. Stephen A. Smith's come back in, Stephen Fletcher's come back in, Lee Griffiths is looking leaner again at the weekend. So there is competition there again. Ollie McBurney, Matt Phillips can play up there. You've got James Forrest, Ryan Fraser pitching in with goals and assists. So I think we've had the vision to see what is in front of us, and we've tried to put it into place. At times it's obviously going to be difficult because you need to try stuff in order to, you need to fail at times in order to get it right.
But just to touch on your point that you mentioned there, because I know you're if you like protected of Alec, he's your gaffer, you've been with him. How difficult a period was it for him when he did seem to be getting it from all angles, and what is your role and Peter Grant's role in that behind closed doors with him?
I would say it was very difficult. He never showed it. I think that goes with his experience, and it shows you that if that was a younger manager to deal with that kind of pressure, I think he would have struggled, to be honest with you. But it's just a testament to him. We've all played under him here. He's a brilliant manager. He's great at taking the pressure off of the players, and myself and Peter are there to support him and reassure him that what we're doing is the right thing. Because
what in particular did you feel that was coming towards you and the management team that was unfair?
Well, I think the over criticism of, from the start, taking the friendlies, losing to Costa Rica. I mean, we're 1 game in and you're trying to implement something, you lose a game, fine, but straight away you're fighting that battle of, right, it's a friendly, we're trying to build for these Nations League games, judges when the competition comes. And we never really got to the competition, it was judged straight away, which fair enough. Of course you want to see...
And sorry, was the judgment coming from, I know you think it's coming from the media, maybe supporters, but when it comes from guys that are involved in punditry and ex-professional footballers, when it comes from them before a competitive ball being kicked, is that more disappointing?
It depends. It depends if it's a guy that's been there and has an idea of what it takes to set up a team and to look after a group of players, then they know how difficult it is. When it's guys that haven't played or haven't coached or managed, then I think it's a wee bit harder to take because it's not an easy job. I'm not giving you a name, but you know who I'm talking about.
We'll get on to Michael Stewart in a minute.
It's hard. The guys will tell you, when you're a manager or you're a coach, there's so many more things you've got to deal with in picking a team and winning games. There's loads to deal with. The pressures are huge, and you just want a chance to deal with it. For me, I always looked at it and says, the manager's won countless trophies. He's managed at the highest level. Give him time. He knows what he's doing. He's experienced enough to deal with it, and he'll get it right because more often than not he has done in his career.
You guys have been managers in the Scottish Premier League. How difficult is it when you're getting through a tough time, you're maybe not winning games, and you feel as though you're just getting it from all angles?
Yeah, you feel the heat, but that's why you're in the job. That's why you take the position up. And what James was saying there about Alec, he was under pressure from the first game against Albania. And you've seen the headlines. He's under pressure. If he doesn't win this game, his job may be at risk, which is scandalous in my eyes.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's absolutely scandalous, but we understand the management. When you don't win games, there's so much pressure now from every corner, and you try and protect the players as much as you can because you need these players.
How difficult is it, Lee? Because you were in Kilmarnock last year and you couldn't win a game at the start of the season. It get tougher and tougher for you. I mean, do you have a support network or do you feel isolated at those times?
I think it's a lonely place, isn't it? That's what I've found out. It's a lonely place in the dugout and in your room, and you reach out to your friends, your close friends. You've got your assistant manager there, but it's a different pressure. It's a different pressure for playing all together, but you need to show belief in your team. You need to be bringing them in. You need to have what, in my opinion, what Alex McLeish's got. You need to get the players really want to play for you and really want to get you out the rut.
I think that was part of
the club you're in.
When you talk about the pressure, right, it comes for the friendlies. We had to play the friendlies. I would rather learn from playing a Belgium or Portugal, because the Nations League campaign, you know who you've got, and if you win that, you get your playoff, but you don't want to use the playoff. You want to go into the campaign and you're going to get a Belgium or a Portugal or one of these big nations, so you're better having the experience of playing against them, and maybe sets you up for the campaign, the bigger picture. But the criticism that came from everything, to the friendlies, South America, the players pulling out, they're not injured, there's obviously a hidden agenda there. The players just don't want to play. Everything.
So
it's as if you just, right, we'll get the next flight, on you go.
I think you're scrutinised for everything that you do when things are not going particularly well or whatever. Everything's scrutinised much more.
To be fair, James, you're not much of a flight attendant, aren't you? I mean, the way you're handing out those meals and meals and drinks.
Well, to be fair, I think that could be something that could be guilty of. No doing everything perfect. But
on that, you mentioned, the call-ups. I think was it 9 or 10
Aye.
for the last double header. Some big players, some key players, and you yourself said that they're running the risk of not being involved the next time round if the guys come in. How serious a threat is that?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me was the summer one, because it was a chance to go away and spend close to 2 weeks with a group, intense training, games, and really get together. When you're away with the squad, you do find that you get to know people better, especially in that intense atmosphere. So you wanted as many people as possible. Obviously, there was concessions made for guys, the Celtic players that had played maybe 60 games, and we knew that was going to come. But the last one was, if guys are injured, they're injured. There's nothing we can do about it. Everybody, of course, runs a risk, because if you pull out a squad, for whatever reason, somebody else is coming in to take your place. And if that person comes in and does as well as what they've done in the last 2 games, of course you run the risk. But the players that pulled out were injured. There's no hidden agenda. I know that people think there's some sort of conspiracy that the players don't want to play for the manager, but ultimately, we've all played under guys that maybe we don't like, or managers that maybe aren't your cup of tea, but you're playing for your country. You're not playing for a manager, you're playing for your country, and every time you pull that jersey on, it's about pride. And I think that the players' level of commitment's unquestionable for me, because two of the guys got injured in training, and
which two?
That's unfortunate. Mikey Devlin and John McGinn.
Right.
Sorry, Kieran Tierney had a tight hamstring as well from training. Never trained all week. Trained the Tuesday, tried to train the Friday, never made it. So there is so much now with the clubs that you have all the information needed. If a player's injured, they go for a scan. It used to be that they had to come up and then they were assessed, but they go for a scan at the club. They send all the information. They can tell you their training load. Every day they've trained for the whole time they've been at that club, so there's no hidden agenda, there's no secrets going on that he's just pulling out because he doesn't want to be there. There's players that have got genuine injuries, and the team never changed that much for what it was going to be.
One of the things James is saying there, and we all hope that it's going to be the real thing, and we'll be at Euro 2020. One of the things, the conundrum that keeps coming up is, how do you solve the problem of Robertson and Tierney? Paul, if you're the Scotland manager, what would you, first of all, A, would they both be in the starting lineup, and B, if they are, where would you play them?
I think they would be in the starting lineup, because they're two of your best players, so you've got to try and find a position for them. I think you could play Tierney as a right back. In my eyes, you could play him as a right back. I think Gordon did it, used him there. I know it's not the most comfortable there, but I think you've got to get it. I would like to tune him in the team, but look, the manager, he makes that decision. Maybe it's a bit of unbalance if he played Tierney at right back. I don't know. Could you move Robertson up one and put Tierney as a left back? Can you play Tierney as a left centre back? I don't know.
The thing about it is, one of them's going to have to play at position. So
Tierney's played
good
centre
problem to
half,
have.
left centre half for Celtic before.
Yeah.
That a lot of people's know.
But we played him
picked
left
up
centre
on.
half in a three, and
yeah,
we
three.
get slaughtered for it.
Yeah.
Over in Israel.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I like him at centre half, and I
So-
think going to your question, I would. You need to obviously, and I know he's probably spoke to him. Alex spoke to him, and there was loads of press where they've said, or a guy said, "Oh, Alex probably not even spoke to him. He just threw him in." If it was me personally, I would play Tierney left centre half.
So the one thing that comes out of that though for me is it's an understanding from professionals in the game, you're a Scotland coach, that Andy Robertson is the first choice left back, and therefore it's trying to find somewhere the next best role for Kieran Tierney.
I think Tierney would play anywhere.
I think, aye.
Aye.
I think he's
I
that
think
type of lad.
Kieran's-
He could play, as you say, Gordon played him at right back, no problems. I think he would play anywhere for your country if it means you're getting a game or you're involved.
I think Lee hit the nail on the head. He's played in different positions for Celtic, so
But nobody's
he's
want to
more-
pick
he's
up
more
on it because they
adapt-
just
No.
want to be negative
Well,
and negative.
The last time it was too many square pegs and round holes, and I mean John Souttar. It was the game John Souttar played right centre back of a three. He's played there numerous times. Kieran Tierney's played left centre back of a three for Celtic.
Yeah.
Andy Robertson's left wing back, which isn't too much different for a left back. Who was the other? There was another one that. It was
Tierney's
moving people
played
about.
centre half and a four as well. So
Yeah,
two
he
centre
did,
halves.
he did against the Netherlands under Malky, when Malky took his interim game.
I just
so
think he's stronger than Robertson, and he's got made a stature, and that's why he would play centre half before Robertson. If you were,
you're talking to
saying
three
who-
guys here that have played right wing, centre mid, deep line midfielder, attacking midfielder, everywhere.
Left wing, left
wing, right wing, left back,
Left
centre
back-
mid, centre forward.
Left back in the
And-
Champions
and-
League when Lee Naylor took off injured, Strachan says Shakhtar Donetsk.
Is that a night he's lost 7-0?
No, we won 1-0, Mark. I don't mind that one. Go and play left, no bother.
You're right, because you say when it's your country.
It's not.
You're a
It's not
see when you-
it's
see when you get-
professional football. If you want to play, you'll play anywhere.
See, when you get away with your country for 10 days, there's a chance you might not play in any of the games, or you might play in one and not play in the next game, but that's just the way it is.
I suppose as well, it's a great compliment to Kieran Tierney if perhaps he is the best right back in the country as well, in terms of you say, listen, you're going to have to go. It's not your natural position, but you are the best we've got, and that's a great compliment to him, isn't it?
It's a compliment to any player when the manager comes and says, look, I know this isn't your natural position, but I believe you can do it. Straight away you go, brilliant, I'll do it then. You might not be happy. There is times where you think, I just want to play my own position, but at the same time, it is a compliment to say, we feel you can do a job wherever you're asked.
In terms of the last couple of games, we've topped that section. At the very least, we've got a play-off. When the conventional route to the Euro 2020 kicks off in March, do you see formation, the style of football being very similar, James, after the success of the last couple of games?
I think it gives us something to build on. It's not to say that we'll stick to what we've done, because there might be times where a change of formation or shape or personnel is better for the team, but I think we've found, certainly a formation that suits the players that we have, and that's part of the process. You play your friendly games in order to find what your best 11 is, and we went into the Albania game in a back three when we felt as though we could go into the Israel away game the same, but we had to change it. We're no stubborn to say this is the way we've got to play and this is it, like at Olympic. We'll be flexible, but I think we've got a good base to build on going into the qualifying, because the performance levels of the players was excellent, and we want that to continue.
Can you see that, Paul, in terms of it's just a real team spirit, a real team effort, rather than Scotland having an outstanding individual such as a Gareth Bale at Wales?
I think we've got a lot of good young players coming through, and I think most of them playing in that the last two games here will give them a lot of confidence. But when the draw is made, you're probably going to come up against probably better teams, I think. So you'll have to maybe change the way you play, maybe going away from home. Scotland, we were 4-5-1 most of the time, home and away.
Yeah.
We were hard to beat, hard to break down, but knowing that you've got players in the final third that carry a threat
But
for
it's
you.
a defensive formation. It's a formation that if a default position almost. It could be a 4-5-1, and we've done it for years. It could be a 4-1-4-1, 4-3-3. The players are flexible. We spoke about being able to play in different positions, but when we don't have the ball, we need to defend. The best that France done it in the World Cup, they had everybody back in their own half when they defended. When they attacked, they went and attacked with pace, and that's what modern football is. You want everybody needs to defend and everybody needs to attack, and it's finding the right balance. But I think we've got the players to fulfil any formation and any game plan, and it's really exciting for the future.
Do we have or who would you say, Lee, is a real standout individual, somebody that we do have that can go and be a match winner at the moment?
At the moment, I think Fraser, Christie, Forrest, these sort of players that were immense in the last 2 games there, but a natural ability, pace.
It's a good balance because
goals
nobody's mentioned
as well.
Stuart Armstrong yet either. Stuart Armstrong
Exactly.
was brilliant.
He was
Callum
excellent.
McGregor,
Excellent.
you know,
And you can play McGregor in a few
Callum
positions.
McGregor.
anywhere. He's one of the players you play anywhere. He's such an intelligent player.
Do you think
he
he's come
gets
up,
it.
confidence levels went up since Scott Brown's come out of the team? And he's been put into that position and he's realised how good he actually sort of is. And
he wants to play attack. He wants to attack, so he's in a good position to start attacks. He plays it forward more often than not.
He's
and
one
he
of the most
always
underrated
seems to-
players.
His first thoughts forward when he plays
seems
is
to
that
pick the
deep line midfielder.
So natural with the ball.
He'll go forward straight away,
Yeah.
try and break the lines with his first pass.
And he seems to make the right decision more often than not, which is very unusual, especially for he's not that young. I know that, but to go into that position and just play it like he would play anywhere. His first touch is always
He
forward.
never seems to be flustered.
Always takes the
as
right
well,
first
doesn't he?
touch.
No, he doesn't seem nervous, uptight. He's got that elegance, that confidence about him when he plays, and
He's got an understanding as well. You
Aye.
speak to him and he gets it, and he's always asking questions and just making sure that he knows everything that needs
He's
to
been playing wide
required
left
of him.
for Celtic, hasn't he?
He's played
I
left
know
back
it's
at
not
times, you
been
know.
wide left.
He's improved so
They played
much
a
over
game
the last couple of
last
years.
when I was at Motherwell. We were beating Celtic Fir Park. Izagiri was getting a torrid time off of Chris Cadden, and he took him off after half an hour and put Callum McGregor at left back. Changed the shape, changed the game. Changed the game. They come back and won the game. We were cruising, and they come back. He put him on at left wing back, or left back, and he was brilliant. He was brilliant, and I think that's the type of guy he is. He can play anywhere. He understands the game, and he's a great asset for us.
Is he up there? I mean, if you think guys that you played with in the national team and played against, domestically played with, domestically, has he got the potential to be up there with a Barry Ferguson in terms of the influence he can have on games at a high level?
I think he is, because technically very good. As I said, he understands the game. His first touch is normally the right one. He's always open to taking the ball. He picks up great positions, and as I said, he more often than not makes the right decision. I think he has got a chance to be certainly one of the biggest players for Scotland in the next 4, 5, 6 years.
And he can score a goal. He can score
Scores and
goals too.
assists,
You know,
doesn't he?
assists, and such a clever player. I
But
really like him.
Talk about the whole group. You know, it's exciting for the whole group, and I think they've got a good spirit. When we all played in the same team, we all got on. We had a great spirit, like a club, and I can see that happening again here, and hopefully we can go one further than what we did, because I do really think we've got the players to do it.
Who were the good guys in that group? Who did you enjoy rooming with and having a coffee with in the downtime?
I think all of them. I think people talk about the Celtic Rangers have been a clique. It was never like that. I never ever.
No, it was never like that.
Was this under Walter and Alec mainly?
I never ever saw that. I think when we met up, we all got on. I thought it'd be a terrific spirit.
Aye.
In those,
Although
those
Walter
years.
said that you hated rooming with him, though you always used to ask not to.
No, Fletch was my roommate. Me and Fletch room.
I think we'd room.
Because we were two young guys, and that just happened for the first time that we were in a squad together. We roomed together.
Who did you roommate national with?
I think Boydie. Boydie.
That would been a good room.
Normal service. Room service at half of the night. And became the norm.
Don't worry, your cheese
Were you hiding?
Were
You hiding? You were hiding, weren't you? You felt guilty for him. You're like, I feel like that.
But you spoke about, I mean, we've been speaking about, with all respect to some other players, the kind of main hitters for the past while, but you look at guys like Stephen O'Donnell and Mikey Devlin coming in, and you look at the emergence of Scott McKenna and boys like that, and you signed Stephen O'Donnell for Kilmarnock. How good is it to see those guys coming in at your smaller clubs in the country and making an impact?
I think that's a great point, coming in with the smaller clubs. I signed him from Luton. He got freed for Luton. There was a couple of other teams interested in him. I just seen an athlete, a complete athlete, Very underrated. I'd actually spoke to James about him before I signed him, and I think he can kick on. I honestly still think he's playing at 60% his capabilities. I think Stephen's the type of guy that as he goes on he'll gain confidence and become even better, and I think he'll kick on for Kilmarnock as well.
Well, you look at somebody like Mikey Devlin, who's at your old club Aberdeen, Paul, and one of your even going further back at Hamilton Accy. It's good to see guys like that getting a move and then building it up.
He's done well because he's had a lot of bad injuries, or he'd one bad injury. I think he was out for a bit. I think he was out for a bit.
Just when he signed the pre-contract.
Yeah, I think he was out for a bit
Aberdeen,
over a year. And the way that he's came back and he's performing well, I think a good partnership with him and Scott McKenna at the back for Aberdeen. Two good centre halves, so he's done very well. Yeah.
When you were manager at Dundee, did you feel there was maybe one or two boys in your team that might have been worthy of a
Yeah, I always
look
felt
at?
the goalkeeper, Ben, who's been involved with James, I always felt he had the ability to play the national team. Greg Stewart was another one. He got a good move to Birmingham, not quite worked out at Birmingham or Aberdeen, but then he's playing really well at Kilmarnock. So he was another player that I always felt.
What about when you mentioned the summer camp, and it was important for you guys there just to see about boys and find out about them. Who really impressed and who sort of solidified their place in the squad by going away with you for that fortnight?
Obviously Scott Bain came away and he played the second half of the Mexico game and he was excellent, and I've always liked him as well since Paul signed him for Dundee, took him for Alloa. I've always liked him because you can just tell he's been a player. Maybe when he was younger, you're too small to be a goalkeeper, you're not strong enough in that, and he's had to work the hard way, and I think he's a top goalkeeper, and I'm no surprised that he's at Celtic, and I know that eyebrows are raised when he comes in, when he was called into the squad, but we saw him at close hand, watched him against Mexico, as I said, and it's a testament to him that he's no first choice at Celtic, but every time he plays, he comes out of the cold and plays well, every single time, and that's a great attribute to have, because you always hear, they need a couple of games, or he's not played for a while. He comes in, does his job, and he does it well, and and he's one that, certainly with the age of the goalkeepers we have now, that the more we can get him involved, it will help him and us for the future, hopefully. Stephen O'Donnell, who you mentioned, came on the trip, was excellent, played the 2 games. We took advice that because of the altitude and the travel and the conditions that none of the players would be able to play 290 minutes. He did. Right. He played them. His fitness is brilliant, as Jig says. He's an athlete. He's desperate to do well. He's desperate to be, to please you and make sure that you recognise that he's good, because he's got a lot of...
Did you see his interview after his first cap?
Aye.
The emotion in his face, and I think it's brilliant.
But every time he does it, plays a game, or he's like, hope I'm back, and he's like, just delighted to be involved.
That sums him up. That first interview sums Stephen up as that honest boy, passionate boy that's just wanted to do the best that he can.
He's had a few setbacks in his career. At Aberdeen, I think he was at Aberdeen, he was at Celtic, the youngster. Partick says went to Luton, didn't quite work out.
Wasn't he playing at Luton?
Goes to Kilmarnock, where he finds a place where he's playing well.
He's flourished, but I think you guys saying he's a great boy, and looking at his interview, I can see that James in this whole squad, and I don't know if it just stems from Andy Robertson, but you look at the setbacks he has to where he is now and what he's achieved in the past 4 or 5 years, and you think there's, as much as they're achieving, they still appear to be a very, very humble group of players.
They are, and you look at Andy Robertson, Champions League final last year. Everybody knows the journey he's on, but he's just a normal guy, and I think people don't realise it. And you look at the Celtic players. James Forrest won umpteen league titles, and they're winning every week. McGregor, Kieran Tierney, all the Celtic players that come in, they're so humble. The whole group is they're a good group. They got on great. The trip to Peru and Mexico was brilliant. There was a lot of things, because it's a long travel. There's a lot of waiting about airports, and these guys will tell you, I moaned about everything when I played. Absolutely everything. I loved moaning. I was never unhappy. I just loved to moan.
Sometimes people moan to get through it though, don't they?
But none of them moaned. Nobody complained. They were all happy to be there. There was guys, talking about the players, young Lewis Morgan came over, and I know he's not playing, but he's a guy that you could see, right, he can play international level. He needs a run of games. There was loads of... Lewis Stevens can come over, was brilliant. Graham Shinney. Everybody that came over, they were brilliant. Their attitudes were spot on. And they talk about guys that don't want to be there and maybe the whole debate's been about call-offs, right? But these guys that we had there, and the guys we've had in the squad since, they all want to be there. You can tell when somebody's unhappy or they don't want to be there. And like, as I said, I moaned about everything, but they don't. They just got on with it. They're happy to be where they are, and that's a great thing.
The big thing is there's any superstars, I would imagine, because when we were doing well, we didn't have any superstars, did we? It was just a togetherness.
It's actually quite similar, because we had Fletch, who was playing for Man United, Champions League, going for, you know, trying to win the Champions League in a team that you thought were capable of winning the Champions League. Andy Robertson's the same, but he's not. They don't come up with any egos. They just come in and they're a big part of the squad.
That's the pleasing
because
thing.
They just want to be part of the group.
And the younger boys looking up to that.
It's brilliant. They're all the same. Maybe the guys are roughly the same age, a bit like when you're talking about there was no divide, but you Jag and Fergie and all them for being younger, so that was never ever going to be any problem. And I think that's similar with the group we've got now. They're all maybe used to playing against each other, playing with each other, and they're just in as a group. They'll obviously have banter about Celtic and Rangers and all that. That happens. It's always happened. It's just banter.
We're looking forward to meeting up again, I think, in March.
Definitely.
You know, that's a good thing. You couldn't wait to meet up again.
It's always pleasing as well when none of the players, you know, always turn up in time to get their flight home from whichever journey they're on. That's what he's moaning about. The SFA told him they're on flight time.
That was my fault. That was my fault. And do you know what? I'm never late for anything.
A great lesson point. Just to finish off, looking at Euro 2020 and the national team, but you're part of the setup. We're all Scotland supporters. You guys have been close. Do you dare to dream that we're going to be there in 18 months' time?
Yes, I do. I do. I've watched a lot of the games. I've watched a lot of the players before I was involved, and what I see in training and the improvement that's still to come. I really believe that we're going to qualify. I do. I'm always optimistic, but it's no blind. It's no. I'm just going to believe we're going to get there and try and sell something. I'm not selling anything. I've watched the players. I know how good they can be, and I really believe that we'll qualify. I do, and I think that I know we've not had the draw yet. I think we've got a real good chance of qualifying straight out of the group and forget about the playoffs.
And in terms of that as well, just because getting back to a bit at the start about Alec, how pleased would you be in particular for Alec, to go and do it?
Delighted. I'd be delighted for him, because I worked under him with Scotland. He signed me for Birmingham, and I don't have a blind loyalty to him. I enjoyed working for him, and I know that he knows what he's talking about. He's done a few knocks since winning the cup for Birmingham, and he's had to rebuild. And now it's like he's having to justify the fact that he is a top manager. So if we can get to the Euros, I'd be delighted for the manager. But I think that the negativity that's surrounding the national team and that has done in the last 20 years is because we haven't qualified. It's not just because of the apathy towards the manager, it's because we've not qualified and everybody's frustrated. But I really think we'll qualify, and I'll be delighted for everybody, because I'm a fan as well. Although I work for Scotland, I'm a Scotland fan first and foremost, so I understand the frustrations, and we all want to go and be part of the Euros, especially since some of the games are going to be at Hampden. It'll be brilliant.
Paul, you were so close with the national team in 2008 for qualifying for the Euros. Give us a wee insight as a player, just what it feels like to be within touching distance, but then you miss out.
Yeah, look, we felt we had a great chance, but it was just, that's like it was. We felt we could get there, but it wasn't to be, and we've waited a long time. 1998's the last time we at a major final, so. We're all behind the team, that's for sure.
It's far too long. You've got Wales and obviously England.
Well, we've just beat Albania, who were in Euro 2016.
Northern Ireland have been there. Ireland have been there. Wales,
Ireland. So we're the only ones that have not been there.
Iceland. You look at what Iceland have been doing
20
as well.
years, been too long. But I echo what James is saying. We've got a group now that I believe as well that will be able to do it. I really, really believe that. I just think there's far too much negativity towards the team and the management, just for fans, because they're used to, for the last 20 years, we're going to do it, oh, we've not done it again.
As well, you talk about the problem positions when you look at it at the start, strikers, it seems to have sorted itself out a wee bit, because they were always there. Then you've got the centre back area, left-sided defenders we've got coming out our ears, but before we started, we were struggling to find the balance for a right-sided centre back. But now you've got John Souttar, Jack Henry done well at the start. He's not playing at Celtic, obviously. David Bates, Mikey Devlin. You know, there is real competition there, and that's they're all young guys. There was guys playing in that game, maybe 3 or 4 guys that were eligible for the under-21. So it shows that we've got a bright future, and we just need to make sure that we can maintain it.
Was it Bates and McKenna that played the last game?
McKenna and Bates.
So the last time they were on the pitch was a championship game in Scotland. Did you see that
Is
stat?
that right?
Unbelievable.
Well,
Stat.
McKenna was playing the championship a year ago.
And then look at them now, they're the partnership for Scotland. The incredible stat it was. Can't remember who it was or how long ago it was, but then that same coming through to go and play for their country.
It just shows you though, if we can get through this group, the tournament's obviously in a year and a half. It's time. There could be players that are playing under 18s football that are there. That are,
somebody just comes through sometimes, doesn't he?
And that just shows you for everybody. For us getting to a tournament, what it would do to the whole country, the whole perception of our game in Scotland, because there is brilliant players in Scotland. People speak about. I done the press conference for the last one, the last meet up, and they were talking about Ryan Christie and how he's emerged, and they were saying, oh, he's a typical European player and his style of play. I says, he's a Scottish player. We have good players. We've got technically good players, and it's about time we started saying we can produce players. We just need to get it and put it on the bigger stage and get to the Euros, and it will filter down because we've got brilliant players.
For me, that's because the league's much stronger this year than it's been for over the last few years. We've got 5 or 6 really strong teams now. You look at the
league place up for grabs.
You look at the league table just now. It's so tight between 5 teams. So the Kilmarnocks and St Johnstone's doing well, Aberdeen, Hearts, Hibs, Celtic, Rangers. So the league's strong now. The league's much stronger.
Livy, you've got players that were playing League 1 2 years ago. Now they're beating the big teams up here and
keeping clean sheets.
Exactly.
The lot. Well, we wish Alec McLeish and the Scotland squad all the best for the qualification campaign, and if it has to be through a playoff to get through to the Euro 2020 finals. This is the Open Goal coaching sessions in association with our friends at Intelligent. Lisa, we're going to speak about management and the perils to be a young coach or manager in the game today. Paul, when you do manage and coach at a high level, what do you think of the current landscape for young coaches and managers coming into the game and trying to get a foothold and establish themselves?
I really think you've got to think about it now. Do you want to be a manager, or do you want to be a coach, or a number 2, whatever you want to call it?
Management. How do you differentiate?
Well, management is very difficult now. It's results based. A lot of pressure on managers now. You lose a couple of games and it's really intense. A lot of that's through social media, supporters, the press. I think being a manager now is very, very difficult.
Do you think that
I don't think you get the time that you used to get?
A lot of guys, because I'm just getting towards, just finished playing, but when you're coming towards the end and they go, I want to have a go at managing, I want to have a go at coaching, and they look at maybe how high they can get as early as possible. You obviously started at Alloa. Do you think that?
Yeah, I mean, I've been through all the leagues, starting from the bottom all the way up, and it was a fantastic grounding for myself. But that's 7 years ago. But now I think it's becoming more and more difficult. I think you've got to get in there straight away and get results. If you don't get that time, or people call it your philosophy.
You're away at Alloa where you put pressure on yourself, but there's no a spotlight on you.
No, there wasn't.
You can make your own mistakes.
I made a lot of mistakes at Alloa, which was great for us. And the good thing that I did have was a good chairman, and I think that's very important. And I don't think that's the case now. You've got to make sure that you've got people that are behind you when things are not going too well. But that's becoming more and more difficult now at clubs. The pressure is really intense.
Is horrible too strong a word? Is it a horrible business now?
No, I don't think it's too strong. I think that's just the nature of the beast, especially down in England. I think Scotland obviously quite bad for it, but it's just boards are wanting an instant success now, and it just doesn't work like that. So there's always going to be casualties, unless, as Paul says, you've got a good board or you've got a good chairman that's just willing to back you, and obviously if you've got a good dressing room.
I think as well, when managers or coaches are hired, it's probably one of the biggest points is the terms of your termination of your contract.
Your exit.
You look
Your
at
exit plan.
right. This is what it'll cost for me to get rid of you. And you're like, I'm not even started yet. And that's so that they can cover themselves.
Well,
They say
a
that's
big
one of the
thing
most
getting
important
into-
part of the negotiation, isn't it,
getting
for
into your
the manager
negotiation.
and the board.
Like a 3-year contract doesn't really mean anything. Doesn't mean you're going to be there for 3 years. You might be there 8 months, 6 months, 10 months, whatever. So the 3-year doesn't really mean anything for you.
So they say as you're going in to sign your contract as a manager nowadays, get the divorce sorted first before you go and sign away
And
your
you're
life.
doing it back to front.
Yes, and that's the way that I've heard a lot of managers,
But
ex-managers.
that's when you look at it and
speak
go,
about-
right, the stability of football management is...
Aye.
Even, you talk about England's, there's no point even talking about it because the money's so high that clubs either don't mind paying it or, you know, they'll just, the players are...
Sometimes the managers don't mind either.
No, I know,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
They're at the top level. You know, they're getting a big hefty payoff and they're
They
probably
fancy
getting
a wee
another
break, bit of
job.
gardening leave.
Yeah.
And that's
So that's it, but
Yeah.
even you're going to sign players and they're on a year's contract, so you've not really got a chance to build because there's competition everywhere. There's young guys coming out of coaching, done their badges, think, oh, what to be a
can do
manager?
this, it's
And
easy.
they go to a chairman and they talk a great game and say, this is what I'll do, it's great.
Yeah,
Then
no,
you're in the job and you go,
No,
oh
you've
my
got-
God.
you've
I
got
think
to-
that's the most annoying thing for the media, for the ones that are outspoken in the media that have never coached or managed, and it's as if just because they played they know it all. See, when you finish playing, there's an arrogance where you think in your head, I might be a wee bit different for that guy or that guy or that guy, and then you do it, and then the pressure just comes, and that's when you need people running about you and maybe a calm, steady head. But there's a fashion now for people coming at getting their 30s, right, I need to do my coaching badges because I fancy being a manager. But I don't think everybody realises how
No, you don't.
hard and isolated it can be.
I remember you two guys, I mean, knowing you in the jobs at Kilmarnock and Dundee, and you're talking about, I mean, genuinely 15, 16, 17 hour days, 6 days a week, you know, and you
tough.
think there's no
tough.
there's no hiding place, there's no
Can't cut
downtime,
corners.
you know.
there's no break, you don't get a break.
there's
I
no
said, even
break.
I was only assistant and my head burst every day because you're constantly thinking about how you can improve what went wrong, and I can only imagine what it's like. And you can see a manager as an assistant, you look at a manager and you can see how hard it is for them, but you never know until, like, the manager will say, this is what I'm thinking about, what do you think? And you give your opinion and you're strong and say, this is what I think, but the manager needs to make that decision. He can't go, I fancy doing this. It's this is what I'm doing,
that's what we're
and I need to stick by it. And it's easy as a coach, a manager, support network, a friend to say, I don't think you should have done that. The manager needs to bear that burden, and it's a huge pressure.
How is it when you've got, I mean, you have literally, and I suppose it's the same for lots of walks of life, but when you're in the public eye as a football manager in the Scottish Premiership, when you have got hundreds of decisions to make every day?
That's how you're doing your so many hours in the day. But you definitely need people running about you to bounce things off. Well, I felt as if I needed people running about me to bounce things off and get an opinion back and be questioned about, this is what I want to do. But why do you want to do that? Do you know, thought about this, thought about that? And I think it's easy to get carried away. It's easy to, it's as if the blinkers come on.
Aye.
And I felt as if, when I reflect on my time, that I was working that hard, making so many, I actually forgot about the team and managing individuals. Like, I'd gone in day training and all that, but I think it's trying to get the best out of individuals. I've just felt as if I was doing that much, that I look back and go, why did I not just concentrate on the boys instead of all the...
Just the kind of fundamental parts,
Yes.
just the basics.
Yeah, but at the time it wasn't like that at the club. There was a wee bit of transition in the club, and I was, my eye came off the ball.
Do you think
for-
that was
for the
like what I was
previous
saying
season.
about Zico starting at Alloa, where there's still pressure and there's a lot of people to deal with, but there's not as much as a full-time club with different staff and different, you know, your remit's different at a full-time club as a manager. I think you need to manage a lot of other things when you're part-time, and that's what I said about learning your trade with the least amount of pressure or spotlight on you, where you can go and maybe make a mistake and somebody's not going, you messed that up there.
Right.
You know yourself you've messed it up, but you
For
can
me-
kind of fix it.
For me, the best part was on the training pitch with the players in
Aye,
terms of
that's-
coaching.
That couple of hours a day.
Now, Jiggle, you know what it's like. You had to deal with everything. And we didn't have the resources at Dundee and Kilmarnock. We were transfers, agents. It was everything. It was just constantly. You never ever got a minute. You would come in for training. You wouldn't sit and have your lunch because you didn't have time. You know, you did not have time. You were out on the road. You were going to games, and it was constant. And I don't miss that part. I miss probably being on the pitch with the players. I don't miss all the other stuff that goes with it. I really don't.
When you guys were players, obviously we experienced at national level, played down south, played up here at high levels. Can you remember any instances where you've been under a manager and you can actually see it week by week taking its toll on?
I don't think you realise till you're in a job what the managers went through. You wouldn't realise at the time you were a player. You just wanted to play, or if you weren't playing you weren't happy or whatever. But you didn't realise what that manager went through, because you trained, you came in the morning, you trained, and then you went away. You know, you're away sharpish, 1 o'clock, whatever it was. You don't realise till you're in a job as a manager that the hours that this guy's putting in and the pressure that he's under, it's
There's a
enormous.
selfishness.
It's enormous.
I think
it's
it's
enormous.
As a player.
As a
Yeah,
player.
as a player.
And by the way, I don't mean that I was like that myself as a player. There's a self, because you don't know until you try it.
It is a selfishness, but it's also, that's all you know.
That's
you
what I mean.
know,
That's
turn
what I
up,
mean.
get yourself ready, train. From my point of view, moan why I wasn't playing. No understanding the thought process that's went into it. I just want to play. But it's natural to you. That's a natural environment for you. Train, play, go home, sit and have your lunch, chill out, play a game, try your best. If you lose, it does cut you up, but then you need to just get over that to look forward to.
You're not going to lose
Monday.
your job if you lose two.
No,
you're not losing your job. Yeah.
But then you don't think a manager comes in on Monday and you've been beat, but you've tried your best and it's maybe nobody's fault, but he needs to figure out how and why you got beat, and he's maybe not talking to you.
the
You think,
difference-
he's never spoken
the
to me.
difference
That's
is
terrible.
I always try to create an environment, the clubs that was at. You're not happy if you don't win on the Saturday. You've got to come in on Monday and be really bright, because it takes effects on the players. So you had to make it's environment. You have to create an environment. Even winning, you were like, "Oh, it's great, we got a result today. Right, what's next week?"
Aye.
Yeah.
You can't
As a
enjoy
manager,
it.
you weren't really. That was all right today. Right, let's think about
You
next
used to
week.
go, if you win a game, off to Tuesday! And the manager's like that. Calm down, will you? Calm down, it's only a game. You're like, come on, Gav, we're off to Tuesday. See you Thursday.
The manager's sitting like that.
knowing as soon before that game's finished, he's gone, right, preparing for
Aye.
next week.
Aye.
And you're like, see you later, Gaffer.
So do you guys all feel bad when you think back the amount of times you chapped the gaffer's door and one about
I
you're
don't-
not playing?
To be
or
honest,
one
I
about
was.
that?
I think maybe Fred and that's
Me,
a bit different.
I didn't play.
I was never somebody that went and chapped the manager's door. I didn't really
You
enjoy
always
it.
played though, didn't you?
No,
You
not
always
all
started.
the time. But I didn't really. I couldn't really want to, because probably that many people want to chat the door,
chat the door.
and then you're the manager's people chatting. Oh no.
I know,
Tell
as soon
us
as you hear
your
that
best
chat,
one. Or what's your most memorable?
I've
You've
not
been-
really
you've
got
just
a
been-
most memorable one.
No, I
just
don't
used
mean
to-
actually when you won, where you've actually the manager's just annihilated you when you've
Never.
chatted. Never?
Never.
No?
No, I wouldn't let them.
Right, well, who tried then? Who tried? and
No,
failed?
I never. The best thing was if you
Well,
didn't.
no, we went to Japan. Remember, Japan was suiting you anyway. We went to Japan.
That's with Walter in the Kirin Cup? No?
Aye.
Aye.
And I think it was the first game he's named the team and you weren't playing. He sat like that.
No.
And Walters went, "You alright, James? Is everything alright?"
No,
James
that
went,
was
"No,
horrific.
I'm not playing." I was like, "Fucking hell, is he alright?"
No.
That was one of the funniest
there was
things
one-
I've seen.
I used to take it off all the time. But
The huff.
I used to go in. It was hard because when you're younger, you're angry all the time, and you're like, I need to play. Why am I not playing? It's like basically saying you're not good enough. So when I went to Everton, David Moyes always says, if I name the team on a Thursday and you're not in it, don't come and see me until Monday. Get the game at the way, come see me on Monday. And I used to go steam coming out my ears Thursday. I'm like, I can't wait. Raging, sit and watch a game, you go, should be playing. Team wins, you go.
I know, we're going to see the manager's delighted.
Can't
isn't
go and
he?
see him.
The
Can't go and
manager's
see him.
delighted.
But it was like to take the emotion out of it, allow yourself time to think, Go on Monday, if you win and or you feel as if you shouldn't be playing, I always went in and says, look, I felt as though I should have been playing, or I played last week, you didn't play me this week, I need to know why. Is it something I can do better? Most of the time it was measured, a lot of the time it was, I was petulant and moaned. I just like moaning. I was never unhappy, I just liked to moan. It got me through.
What you like now as a coach?
Yeah.
In terms of the players that's being, do you still moan or?
No, I don't moan.
Do you like a moaner though? Like if one of the boys is moaning, I bet you like that.
I do, but I can speak to them. I can see it. I look for that, because if a player's maybe not happy about something,
So would you say to them, what's up with your face?
Come on, cheer up. I've been there. It doesn't achieve it.
Don't come and see me till Monday.
Or I'd say, listen, you're not playing because you're rubbish. Go and see the manager on Monday and he'll tell you the real reason.
On that, you mentioned Davy Moyes, the way he would handle players in terms of team selection and that. Which kind of managers did you guys take a bit from into your, you remembered, actually, I like the way he handle that and I'll make sure. Was there guys in particular
I think you
that are
take
an
a bit
influence
from
on?
every manager.
I
I think you take bad bits from managers as well and learn what not to do, in your opinion.
That's the ones you probably think of most. You go, oh, I wouldn't have done that.
Don't handle it
then
that
you
way.
maybe go and say, oh, I can see why he's done it, but if I just handle it slightly different, it might have a better outcome.
I think you should be looking at every manager there is, whether, especially when they're going through a good spell and going through a bad spell. I think for the young coaches out there, they need to go and, well, where you were doing last week, not that you're a young coach or whatever, but you were doing last week, and you're always wanting to learn. And I think that's the biggest thing out there, is keep going round, keep talking to managers, because you're getting experience yourself.
Who was the most rounded? Who was the most rounded manager that you played under during your career?
It's got to be Walter, I would say, and I think it's because there was success there as well. But it was just same face, no matter. At the time at Rangers, there was the banks were taking out of the club and all that, and you're thinking, oh, he's going to come in, he's going to be raging, he's coming in, it's straight look, poker face. That to me is tremendous management. In the lead up to an Old Firm game or a Champions League game or any big game, same, nothing. And you didn't know what he was thinking. So at times you're starting to go, am I all right here? Have I done anything? I must have done something wrong. And you're always on sort of edge, and I think that's how he gets the best out of people.
For you, Paul, most rounded manager?
I think working under Gordon at Celtic was good. He was a great coach, but he had that other side to him, that fiery side, in terms of things weren't going well. But in terms of his coaching, his man management, I really enjoyed working under him.
Do you mean coaching, his training as well as...
his training was brilliant.
Because I went to see his training when I was at Scotland, and I was really impressed.
His training was outstanding every day. But the tempo and the intensity he worked at, when you come back for pre-season, the manager would take the pre-season, it was the worst pre-season you've ever done, but in terms of running, but you were fit. And that's, you used to score the amount of late goals, but the manager would be up the front. He would be up the front, leading it. He was that fit, he was 52 at the time, but...
Him and Arthur Boric up the front, leading
no, it was Arthur and Paddy at the back. Paddy was 3 laps behind us. First day pre-season, Paddy comes in with a long hair. It was 4 2-minute runs. I swear to God, Paddy must have been about 4 laps behind Big Arthur. I actually felt sorry for him.
Took him 4 minutes.
I felt sorry for him. His hair was all over the place, and I thought, oh, wait a minute. But that's the way, the manager, I liked working under Gordon, but I think the managers, you take a wee bit off. Yeah. And then when you become a man, it's got to be you.
Yeah.
It's got to be you.
What about you, James? Your most...
I've worked under, I never worked under Gordon, but Walter was good. He didn't play me a lot, but
just
that's
that
not
one
a surprise.
game.
No,
You were gutted, weren't you?
no, it wasn't that game. It was a different one. It was a USA friendly. He dropped me for, and I wasn't happy. But no, I think the gaffer that I'm working under now was the best man manager I worked under.
He knew how to make you tick. You've told the story before.
He was brilliant.
Yeah.
He just accepted that I was frustrating, and he just knew how to get me playing and playing well. All round, Moyes done everything. David Moyes done every single training session, all the set plays, everything that you could do, he done it, every single bit of it. And he used to join in as well. He'd do the running, I think he was fit as a player, he wasn't as fit as a manager, and he'd join in training as well. And he done, when I first went down, you didn't have sports scientists at it, and he took the warm-ups. He took the warm-ups for training every day. He took the warm-ups for the games. He done every single bit of training.
Obviously at Everton as well.
At Everton. And when I wasn't there when he first went into Everton, obviously, because he signed me.
James used to watch it for the stands. He just used to watch.
I used to go. But when he first went to Everton, he went in himself, didn't take any staff, because he was coming for Preston. He says, I want to show the players that I'm capable, I can do anything. So when I went down, he took the warm-ups, and I mean every bit of it, the stretching, everything. He'd done everything, and he had good coaches there. Alan Overham was his assistant. Alan would take sometimes the morning session when you never played, or maybe a party training, but Moisey took everything in training, and I think that was the way he wanted to be, that he could do everything and anything, and
you can't,
there would be
really.
no problem.
As a manager now, you can't.
I was going to ask, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing right now?
I think it would be difficult now, because there's
sports
so
scientists
much,
and
there's so much
you
now.
need to delegate.
Depending on the level, innit? Depending on the level, what club you work at and what you've got.
Your resources are.
I don't know,
why I
because
was
even a part-time club now will maybe bring in an intern sports scientist.
You could be right.
You know, so there's football's changed so much that there is a role for everybody, and I think it would be difficult as a manager to do everything.
Okay, we're just going to finish off. Paul, you've been a manager, you've been in there, you're out the game at the moment. Finish off. Do you want to get back in? And if you do, what kind of role would you like?
I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe give it another 3 or 4 months and I'll see where I'm at. But at this moment in time, I'm enjoying a stress-free Saturday, to be quite honest with you. Going and watching games, doing a little bit of media work. So we'll see what the next couple of months brings.
What about yourself, Lee?
I'm much the same. I'm actually enjoying a pressure-free Saturdays. We've had it since 15, 16, whatever it is, and you're just seeing a different side of life. You're getting to enjoy spending time with your kids and without thinking about the game or whatever it is. But I'm doing a course at uni now, it's sporting directorship course, so we'll see what happens.
Might open a different door, perhaps.
It might. I'm not saying I want to be a sporting director, but to have that qualification, it might, as you say, open some doors for me in the future.
And for you, James, you're involved now, albeit at a part-time level. I dare say there'll be pretty much full-time hours a lot of the time. But have you got an appetite to go and kick on in coaching and management?
I mean, obviously I've had a taste of the coaching side at Motherwell, and that was, you know, a challenge in itself, trying to play and coach at the same time and help the manager. I never played much. I used to have a word with the manager every Monday morning, but the Scotland stuff is part-time. It's I work when I'm there. I'll go to games and do my job in that sense. But going forward, I think I'd like to give management a go. When I know, but it's all right saying.
He's mad. Well,
don't do it. It's like anything. People can say, don't do this, do that. Yeah. You've got to find it for yourself, and I think, you know, I enjoy the media side of it as well, but I think you've got to try things and try it for yourself to get that experience and see what it's like. I think for me, if something come up in management, then I would seriously look at it.
Brilliant. Well, we thank you all, the three of you, for joining us on Open Goal coaching sessions in association with our friends at Intelligent Car Leasing. I'm Mark Goody. My thanks to Paul Hartley, to James McFadden and to Lee McCulloch. It's been a brilliant hour and a bit in their company. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye.